issue, and that is the issue of veracity, whether or not Judge Kavanaugh was honest and truthful in terms of his responses to questions asked of him recently and years before when he came before the Judiciary Committee. And I have heard colleagues here say, I think rightfully, that regardless of philosophy, if somebody lies to a U.S. Senate committee, that person should not be seated. So what we need right now, not in a few days period, we need a thorough investigation, not only of the charges, the allegations of sexual assault, but also issues of whether or not Judge Kavanaugh has been honest when he came before the Judiciary Committee. And let me give you just a few examples of what I mean that need to be explored. In his previous testimony before the committee, Judge Kavanaugh was asked more than 100 times if he knew about files stolen by Republican staffers from Judiciary Committee Democratic staff. He said he knew nothing, didn't know anything about it when he was in the Bush White House. Yet emails released as part of these hearings show that these files were regularly shared with Kavanaugh while he was on the Bush White House staff. In fact, one of the emails had the subject line, spying. Was Judge Kavanaugh telling the truth, or was he lying? We've got to determine that. In 2006, Judge Kavanaugh told Congress that he didn't know anything about the NSA warrantless wiretapping program prior to it being reported by the New York Times. This year, an email revealed that while at the White House, he might have been involved in some conversations about this program. Was Judge Kavanaugh telling the truth in his response to the committee? In 2004, Judge Kavanaugh testified that the nomination of William Pryor to the 11th Circuit Court, quote, was not one that I worked on personally, end quote, again, when he was in the Bush White House. Documents now contradict that statement. Newly released documents also call into question whether Judge Kavanaugh was truthful that the nomination of Charles Pickering, quote, was not one of the judicial nominees that I was primarily handling, end quote. Was he telling the truth? And if he was not telling the truth on these issues, does that tell us something about the character of this man who wants to take a seat on the Supreme Court? 2006, Judge Kavanaugh testified, and I quote, I was not involved and am not involved in the questions about the rules governing detention of combatants, end quote. New evidence released as part of these confirmation hearings contradicts that assertion. Additionally, now those are issues not dealing with the allegations of sexual assault. But in terms of the recent allegations, Judge Kavanaugh repeatedly told the committee that he never drank to the point of where he didn't remember something. He also denied ever becoming aggressive when he drinks. This is not an issue of whether somebody drinks or not. Millions of people drink. This is an issue of whether or not he was being honest in his responses. There have, as you know, been a number of reports from those people that Judge Kavanaugh attended high school with, attended college and law school with, that contradict his assertion about his drinking habits. Judge Kavanaugh himself, in a 2001 email, referenced growing aggressiveness during a weekend vacation, but that he didn't remember. Again, the issue here is not drinking. The issue is veracity. Was he telling the truth? On another issue, Judge Kavanaugh testified that he treated women, quote, as friends and equals, end quote, and with dignity and respect. Numerous entries in his school yearbook would seem to suggest otherwise. Was Judge Kavanaugh's statement to the committee truthful? Again, whether you like his philosophy or you don't, it is important for us to ascertain the veracity of his testimony. Judge Kavanaugh claimed that he and Dr. Ford, quote, did not travel in the same social circles, end quote. Dr. Ford said she dated Chris Garrett, referenced as a friend in his yearbook. In fact, she testified Garrett introduced her to Kavanaugh. Kavanaugh claimed numerous times in response to Dr. Ford's allegations that, quote, all 4 witnesses say it didn't happen, end quote, and that witnesses, quote, refuted Dr. Ford's story. Yet one of the witnesses simply said she didn't remember the party in question, took place decades ago, but that in fact she believes Dr. Ford. Kavanaugh testified that he had, quote, no connections to Yale, when in fact he was a legacy student whose grandfather attended the school. Kavanaugh also claimed that he had no idea that his mentor and good friend, Alex Kaczynski, was sexually harassing his clerks and creating a hostile work environment. But it was such, Kaczynski's behavior was such an open secret that some law schools were warning potential applicants to stay away from Kaczynski. Kavanaugh claims he was not on Kaczynski's infamous email list, but refused to even search his emails to double check. Was Judge Kavanaugh telling the truth about his relationship with Judge Kaczynski? Mr. President, these are very, very serious issues. Millions of Americans are deeply involved and concerned about these issues.